Welcome to the Center's introduction video. The centers contain an enormous amount of information to really get you realigned with a path that creates greater ease and a deeper connection to your potential for wisdom and a deeper connection with your authentic self. When you are not living true to who you are, the body starts showing symptoms because it knows it's out of alignment. It's simply coded into your energetic body. When your life path is not fulfilled over a certain period of time, the body stops cooperating and starts experiencing pain. And pain isn't screwing anything up, it's just your life and your body giving you pointers to get back on track. Being someone you are not energetically takes an enormous amount of energy, and eventually the body can't carry that anymore, especially when we hit crucial milestones in your life cycle and astrological life cycles. For example, when we hit what's called the Saturn return around year 29 or Uranus opposition around year 40. It simply forces us to live in greater alignment with our inherent energy and to live out more of our authentic selves. What is important when we talk about your design and your body graph in general? What is important when we talk about your design and your body graph in general is where we see colors in the chart. Where you see colors in your body graph, shown within the red circle here, regardless of what platform or system that you use to generate your chart, where you have colors, this is you, and this is the energy that you carry with you in your so-called defined centers as well as your defined gates. It's basically your personal map of energies or your specific energy circuitry, and it's about where you have consistent and reliable energy and where you don't. Just a little side note for those of you who might have wondered the following. Why are there 9 centers in human design in opposition to, for example, the traditional Hindu chakra system, which is more widely known around the world, but which only have 7 centers? In 1781, the German-British astronomer William Herschel discovered the planet Uranus, and from there on we moved into what's called the Uranian era, where human beings started to evolve into 9-centered beings, replacing the 7-centered beings before us. By the late 1800s, the process was complete, making all of us today 9-centered beings. The universe is constantly developing, which means that we as human beings develop alongside with it, and thus we transformed into higher evolved beings. This means that the heart center, the green center on the right figure here, split into 2 centers. The 2 centers shown on the figure on the left side, one being the identity center, also called the G center, and the other being the will center, also called the ego center. The solar plexus center, the yellow center on the right figure, also split into 2 centers. One is called the emotional solar plexus, and the other is called the spleen center. All of the centers and how the energy work within them will be explained in greater detail in the following videos. When we talk about the centers, we talk about them as either defined, undefined, or open. Defined centers are colored in, like the ones on the left here in the body graph. And don't worry about the colors not being the same as the ones you have on your chart from the website where you made it. The colors doesn't really matter here. The important thing is, when a center is colored in, it means that it's defined. The undefined or open centers are not colored in. The open centers are sometimes also referred to as white centers. And the difference in definition between an undefined center and an open center, or white center as it's also called, is that in an undefined center, you will have one or more defined gates, meaning a gate number within the center is colored in and has a so-called hanging gate going out from it. In a completely open center, you won't have any activated gates in that center, meaning no hanging gates going out from it. The only difference is that open centers are going to be even more susceptible to conditioning than your undefined centers, which have some gates activated within it. We all have and all experience all of the centers throughout our life to some degree, regardless of them being originally defined or undefined when given at birth. The purpose of your specific centers being either colored in or not being defined or not. The purpose of your specific centers being either colored in or not, being defined or not, lies in the role you are here to play and experience in humanity throughout your current life. Defined centers is where you radiate, express, and emanate energy outwards. This is often how people feel you. And you carry this energy within you and you send this energy out from you. This is where your energy is most consistent and reliable to you. As a baseline, you should look to embody and own the power of these centers because you have the ability to show up in a consistent manner here. However, this doesn't mean that defined centers are not subject to what's called conditioning, or that it's always easy to own the strength of a particular center. But you can look at your defined centers and also your undefined centers in your chart as areas of potential for expressing more of who you really are energetically. Undefined open or white centers is where you receive and take in other people's energy and the energy of the planets as they are moving into new positions. And this is where you are more open to the world around you. When you receive other people's energy from their defined centers into your undefined or open centers, you naturally get influenced by it. You take it in, you amplify it, and you make it bigger. So you feel the energy of the other person's defined centers, and oftentimes you feel it even more than the person who owns and sends out the energy. Anytime you are in close proximity to someone with a defined counterpart to your open center, you will be taking in their energy and learn about it. And this can show up as taking on someone else's emotions, maybe their stress, pressure to be certain, their fears, identity, and so on, depending on which centers you have undefined, open, or white. Ultimately, these centers are places where you are meant to get curious and explore, and this is where you learn about the world around you. It will be something you can experience, energy you can lend and sort of take a ride on when you are around certain people that have defined centers where you don't. But since you don't hold this energy consistently within your own design, but are experiencing it through the impact of other people and the planets as they move around, you won't feel this energy consistently to you. Areas of openness in the chart act like an antenna picking up signals from the world around you. And this can be incredibly helpful because it creates a window into the experience of another person. But discernment is very important, meaning you need to judge whether this energy is something for you to try and hold on to or not, because it is very easy to over identify with energies that are not yours, especially before you learn about the human design system and you don't know about your own design. And then you might take other people's feelings or energy in as if they were your own, because they are really not. And this can lead to something called conditioning, which causes you to behave out of alignment with your natural behaviors or tendencies. And This will naturally create resistance or road blockages for your own energy.